The passenger in 4A had already shown her boarding pass when Cynthia Rowland looked at me and said, "That doesn't prove she belongs up here." I was standing in the aisle with my crew tablet open. The screen showed exactly what I needed. Nia Harper 4, aborted. No duplicate seat. No upgrade issue. No cabin error. I remember looking from the tablet to the girl by the window. I realized I had just made her prove something the system had already confirmed. My name is Teresa Vaughn. I was the lead purser on Beacon Atlantic Flight 720 from New York to London. Before departure, my job was to finish the premium cabin count and confirm special service notes. I made sure the doors were ready and handled anything that could delay pushback. Nia Harper had not been one of those things. She looked about 17. She wore a charcoal crewneck, black leggings, and white sneakers. A journal was open on the tray beside her. A blue fountain pen rested across the page. She had been sitting quietly in 4A since I first walked through the cabin. Cynthia Rowland boarded several minutes later. She was assigned 5D. Lucas Meyer, one of our younger flight attendants, helped place her carry-on overhead. Cynthia thanked him and stepped toward her seat. She stopped. She looked at Nia. Then she looked at the number above, 4A. Her eyes moved back to Nia's clothes. "Is that passenger supposed to be here?" she asked Lucas. Lucas checked his handheld. "Yes." 4A. Cynthia gave him a small smile that did not look friendly. "Are you sure?" Lucas checked again. "I am." That should have ended it. Instead, Cynthia lowered her voice. "I've seen people wander forward before." Nia heard her. She did not respond. She picked up her pen and continued writing. Lucas glanced toward me. I was 2 rows away, finishing the departure check, and I could see he wanted someone with more authority to take over. So, I walked forward. "Is there a problem?" Cynthia turned to me. "I'm concerned about the cabin seating." I looked at my tablet. "Which seat?" She pointed toward Nia, without using her name. "That one." The manifest already told me 4A belonged to Nia Harper. I knew that, but I also knew we were close to departure, and the cabin door would be closing soon. Cynthia was one of our high-frequency premium customers. I made what I thought was the easiest decision. I turned to Nia. "Would you mind showing me your boarding pass once?" She looked at me for a second, not angry, just still. Then she reached into the side pocket of her backpack and handed it over. Beacon Atlantic Flight 720, 4A. Nia Harper. I checked it against my tablet. Everything matched. "You're all set," I said, handing it back. Nia placed the pass beside her journal. I turned to Cynthia. "Her seat is confirmed." Cynthia did not apologize. Instead, she looked at Nia again. "That still seems unusual." "What does?" "A girl that age, traveling up here alone." I felt Lucas go still behind me. Cynthia continued. "I pay a lot for this cabin. There should be some standard." Nia closed her journal. Samuel Kim, a passenger across the aisle, lowered the tablet he had been reading. I said, "Her booking is valid." Cynthia looked at me. "Was it purchased normally?" That question changed the room. Not because she shouted it. She didn't. She asked it like she believed the answer might explain why Nia should not be there. Nia spoke before I could. "I have a confirmed seat." Her voice was quiet. Cynthia gave a short laugh. "I'm sure you do." Samuel looked directly at her. "The seat has been checked. Why are you still asking?" Cynthia ignored him. She looked at Nia's sweatshirt, then at me. Airlines have all kinds of programs now. I knew what she was implying before she said anything more. So did everyone close enough to hear. Nia's hand rested beside the blue pen. She did not raise her voice. "I'm in the seat, printed on my ticket." That was all. No speech. No explanation of who her parents were. No attempt to prove she deserved first class more than anyone else. I looked down at my tablet again. 4A had never been the problem. Cynthia's refusal to accept 4A was. I stepped slightly toward her seat. "Ms. Rowland, the assignment has been verified. There is no seating issue. I need this conversation to stop." Her expression tightened. For the first time, the pressure in the cabin moved away from Nia. Cynthia sat back. Lucas continued the departure check. Samuel returned to his screen. I started toward the galley. The aircraft began to push away from the gate. Before I turned the corner, I looked back once. Nia had reopened her journal. The blue pen was moving again. Across the aisle, Cynthia held a newspaper open in front of her. She was not reading it. I understood then that I had settled the first complaint. I had not changed why Cynthia made it. For the first hour after takeoff, Cynthia Rowland said almost nothing. That should have made the cabin easier. It did not. I had worked enough long-haul flights to know the difference between calm and a pause. Cynthia sat in 5D with her newspaper folded across her lap. She accepted only water and gave Lucas one-word answers when he came through with service. Nia Harper stayed by the window in 4A. She wrote for a while. Then she put on headphones and opened a paperback. From the galley, she looked like any other teenager trying to disappear into a long flight. That was why Cynthia's next complaint stopped me. Lucas came back carrying an untouched coffee cup. She wants you. What now? She says she can't use the forward lavatory. I looked toward the cabin. Both first-class lavatories were available. Is something wrong with it? No. Lucas hesitated. She says she doesn't feel safe walking past 4A. I set down the service sheet. When I reached 5D, Cynthia was already sitting upright. I need to use the lavatory, she said. It's available. I know. She glanced toward Nia. I'm not comfortable walking past her. Nia had not looked up. Her headphones were still on. What happened? I asked. Cynthia stared at me, as though the answer should have been obvious. She was hostile earlier. What did she do after I spoke with you? Cynthia paused. That isn't the point. It is, if you're saying you feel unsafe. Her face tightened. She challenged me in front of everyone. Across the aisle, Samuel Kim removed his reading glasses. She answered you, he said. Cynthia turned toward him. I wasn't speaking to you. Samuel stayed seated. I've been sitting here since boarding. That girl has not approached you once. I looked at Nia. She still had not moved. Samuel continued. You questioned whether she belonged here. The crew confirmed her seat. Then you kept going. Cynthia's voice sharpened. I am entitled to feel safe. Yes, I said. So is she. That was the first time Cynthia looked genuinely surprised. Until then, every conversation had been built around her discomfort, her concerns, her standards, her expectations. Now the problem had shifted. I asked Samuel if he would be willing to provide a witness statement after landing. He nodded. Absolutely. Cynthia heard that. Her posture changed immediately. This is becoming ridiculous. I told her she could use either lavatory, but Nia would not be moved. That was when Cynthia reached for something she had not mentioned before. My husband runs Rowland Ground Logistics. I knew the name. Beacon Atlantic used the company for cargo handling at several East Coast stations. Cynthia watched my face carefully. We do substantial business with this airline. I said nothing. She leaned closer. You should think very carefully before turning a customer complaint into some formal incident. There it was. The seat argument had failed. The safety claim had failed. Now she was bringing up the business relationship. For a few seconds, I considered the easiest operational solution. There was an open first-class suite farther back. I could offer it to Nia. I could call it service recovery. Cynthia would stop complaining. Lucas could finish service. The captain would never need to hear about any of it, and the person who had done nothing wrong would be the only person asked to move. I looked toward 4A. Nia was writing again. The same blue fountain pen moved across the page. No, I said. Cynthia blinked. I'm sorry? Nia is staying in her assigned seat. Her expression hardened. You're making a mistake. I picked up the cabin phone. Captain Royce. This is Teresa. I need a passenger conduct review in first class. I told Caleb only what I had seen. She repeatedly challenged the verified seat assignment. A racialized comment. An unsupported claim of feeling unsafe. She named a corporate relationship and pressured crew not to document the incident. Caleb listened. Then he authorized a formal warning. I returned to Cynthia. You may use the cabin normally. You may not continue targeting 4A or interfere with crew duties. If that continues, the captain will consider diversion. For the first time since boarding, Cynthia did not answer immediately. She sat back. The argument was over. The record was not. In the galley, I opened the electronic incident form. One category appeared near the top. Passenger dispute. My finger stopped over it. That description would have made the situation sound mutual. It had not been mutual, so I did not select it. I logged what I had actually seen and heard, the verified seat, the repeated challenge, The comment about airline standards, the false safety claim, the reference to Rowland Ground Logistics. When we landed at Heathrow, Samuel gave me his contact information. Nia thanked Lucas and me before leaving the aircraft. She never mentioned her family. I still had no idea who she was. That changed in the station office less than an hour later. Cynthia had named a corporate contractor. My report was routed automatically to Partner Integrity. Alicia Grant joined the review call first. Then another name appeared on the screen. Denise Harper, Chief Executive Officer. I knew our CEO. I did not know why she was on my incident review. Denise looked directly into the camera. Nia Harper is my daughter. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then Denise said something I did not expect. I'm recusing myself from every conduct and contract decision connected to this case. Alicia closed the passenger file in front of her. Then we preserve everything, exactly as it stands. That was when I realized the report would have to stand without Denise Harper's influence. And if it did, Cynthia Rowland had a much bigger problem than whose daughter had been sitting in 4A. Alicia Grant did not begin the review with Denise Harper. She began with my report. By the next morning, passenger conduct had Samuel Kim's statement, Lucas Meyer's crew note, the captain's warning record, and the seat history for 4A. Nothing in those documents depended on who Nia's mother was. That mattered. Alicia called me into a video review from the Heathrow crew office. Walk me through the moment it stopped being a seating complaint. I knew exactly which moment she meant. When Ms. Rowland said she didn't feel safe walking past 4A, what had Nia done by then? Nothing new. Had she left her seat? No. Approached Ms. Rowland? No. Threatened her? No. Alicia typed for several seconds. Then she asked about Rowland Ground Logistics. I repeated Cynthia's words as closely as I could. She had named her husband's company after I refused to move Nia. She had told me to think carefully before making the situation formal. That detail moved the incident into a second review. Passenger conduct handled Cynthia. Partner Integrity handled the business relationship she had invoked. 3 days later, Alicia issued the passenger decision. Cynthia Rowland was barred from Beacon Atlantic flights indefinitely. The findings cited repeated harassment after entitlement had already been verified. It also flagged an unsupported safety allegation and an attempt to influence crew action through a commercial relationship. Denise did not sign it. Her name was nowhere on the decision page. I thought that would be the end of the business side. It was not. Graham Rowland called Beacon Atlantic's commercial office the following afternoon. I was not on that call, but Alicia read the summary to me during the next review because my incident report was now part of the partner file. Graham argued that his wife's conduct had been exaggerated. Then he asked whether my judgment should be reviewed before Beacon Atlantic renewed Rowland Ground Logistics. His company handled cargo operations at several East Coast stations, and the agreement was nearing the end of its term. He mentioned that more than once. He followed the call with an email asking Beacon Atlantic to resolve Cynthia's flying restriction and crew performance concerns before final contract discussions. Alicia printed the email. That was the moment Graham stopped being just someone dealing with consequences his wife had created. He created his own. The final Partner Integrity meeting happened the following week. I joined only for the factual portion. Graham and Cynthia sat together at one end of the conference table. Alicia sat opposite them with the incident packet closed in front of her. Denise was not in the room. Graham called the flight incident a customer service disagreement. Alicia opened my report. Then she placed his email beside it. The passenger matter was already decided independently, she said. Your company then linked contract renewal to changing the consequences of that decision. Graham leaned back. That is not what I meant. Alicia did not argue with him. She read the sentence from his email. The room went quiet. Beacon Atlantic completed the existing logistics agreement. It did not renew it. There was no dramatic cancellation overnight. Cargo still moved, while procurement transferred the work to another provider. The consequence was slower than Cynthia probably expected. It was also harder to dismiss as revenge. The contract had not been lost because Cynthia insulted the CEO's daughter. It was lost because commercial leverage had been used first on an aircraft crew and then again against the integrity of the report documenting what happened. Only after Alicia finished the decision did Denise enter the room. Cynthia looked at her without recognition. Denise remained standing. I recused myself from both decisions. Cynthia frowned. Then Denise added, "The passenger in 4A is my daughter." I watched Cynthia's face change. No one needed to explain the rest. The documents were already signed. Nia was not there. She was in England, where she had gone to write. That was how it should have stayed. After the review, Beacon Atlantic changed one cabin rule. Once a passenger's entitlement had been confirmed through the manifest or valid travel record, another passenger's discomfort could not trigger repeated verification without a new objective discrepancy. If the complaint continued, the focus shifted to the complainant's conduct. Partner integrity added another requirement. Any attempt to use commercial spend or contract renewal to alter a passenger conduct record had to be reported before the next business review. A few weeks later, I found a padded envelope in the international crew mailbox. Inside was a student literary anthology from Oxford. Nia Harper's name appeared in the table of contents. I opened to the marked page. The story had nothing to do with airplanes. At the bottom, Nia had signed her name and written the date with a fountain pen. The ink was blue, the same blue I remembered from 4A. This story is fictional.